Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. I'm here with the Veteran Noob's account, and I'm giving you guys part 12 update on my adventures in CSR2 with a new free-to-play account that got started probably a few months ago at this point. I'm starting to lose track. Now, where are we today? So first of all, I had a rough season partly because of the Prestige Cup being the Evolution Coupe, which when you're a new player, you're not likely to get enough parts to get through the Prestige Cup with the Evolution Coupe without really resorting to burning resources that you shouldn't be wasting on it. So as you can see, I am not done with the Prestige Cup. I got up to race 27, which is actually further than I expected, to be honest. Now, I have gained more epic fusions from the most recent supply cups, and I have installed them, but I had the car basically running the negative tune for that last supply cup. We can go ahead and put it back to normal and take a look at the time the car can run, but unfortunately even in the 9s it just isn't going to be quick enough to get to the point where I need to be in order to make this car get through the Prestige Cup. So with a few hours left, I'm simply not there when it comes to getting through the challenges I need. So this is the downside to this car and this season, which is I'm missing out on a big final chunk of RP that would have helped me get to minimum crew requirements much faster. In fact, right there is that big 180K. Fortunately, I did make it far enough to get the 45K, so I didn't do too bad. There was about 100,000 plus I did manage to get a hold of, and that helped me along. The crew cups, though, more or less helped save me a bit, because these final crew cups and other cups that you have throughout the season helped me get through. With regard to KJ's challenge, yes, I could keep going and select the car, lock that in, and actually probably beat KJ's challenge without much of a problem. I haven't needed to. My focus was elsewhere, but I will go ahead and take care of that at some point in the near future. A big piece of news is, for the longest time, in fact, in the last video I think I mentioned I couldn't get this Mustang, and it turns out it's most likely because I was locked out of getting it by reason of lower rank. As soon as I hit a recent rank, I believe it was 80, I checked again for the Mustang and I was able to acquire it. So that is the good news. The bad news is these specific timed Elite Tuner events really doesn't help me, because my access to tokens are pretty limited when I don't have the ability to participate in showdowns. I have important cars to build, so I have to redirect some of the, I guess, tokens that you do acquire, the resources to those cars. Even though I got 30% in some fusions, I am not being able to actually make use of any of that for the newer cars that I've been acquiring. And because they're all tier 5s, because they all need really 35 levels of elite upgrades and tons of tokens to do that, it's not even worth it for me to put the effort in to do that with those cars. Instead, I've continued to focus on the GR Supra, because that is a car that is getting closer and closer to where I want it to be. Now, looking at the upgrades and the Evo, right now it is still not, in my opinion, worth it to take it into live for any real purpose. So again, I am still relying on the Nissan Japan spec GTR. Basically, if you have one good live racer that can keep generating those points for you, there's no reason for you not to use it. Sure, it gets kind of boring after a while, and particularly this season I had to basically do swaps with my other account to get points, but one good live racer could carry you for most crews. Milestone crews that require anything lower than 1 million really shouldn't be a problem at all. Now, I am of course required to hit 1.5 million this season, and I lost about 4 days due to a family related trip. It was actually more business than family, but the point is I lost 4 days. But knowing what I know about how quickly you can make points doing wildcards, the 170 wildcard I hit this season plus bonus crew points. I jumped basically when I came back from my trip 3 days ago. I was about 900,000. I have now hit 1.5 million without much of an issue. So I've now hit minimum for the crew. I can stay in crew 1. I will not need to request to move to a lower crew. And I made it through a season again without actually finishing up the Prestige Cup. So it is a bit of grinding. It's not as fun as other seasons where I basically can kind of just relax and do some points a day and be done. This one I actually had to grind a lot today, the last day before the season ends, to hit that minimum. Not a position I like to be in, but hey, I also don't like to miss minimum. That's just a personal thing. Again, as you can see, the Civic Type R is gaining fusions and points, and stage 6s and Evo points. It is going to be closer and closer to being ready for future tier 3 use. I can add the fusions and get some pretty substantial jumps here. This car is getting quicker and quicker, and that's a good thing. I mean, this is a good car, so having this available for Tempest down the line will be good for me. I now have a efficient car for basically Tempest tier 3, and that's kind of where we want to be. You have to keep an eye on building more cars for next Tempest, because unfortunately it's going to be one after another, needing a car to lock in for the license for one, and then having that one good car, particularly in tier 3, to finish up. I now have 2 or 3 options, so I'm doing pretty good. Tier 3 Tempest will no longer be much of a concern for me, although tier 2 is still kind of rough, and tier 1, well, right now it's still not looking that great, but we're getting there. So with the tier 3s, I'm building car, and this Honda, because it falls under the one of the event as a lock-in, I locked it in, and therefore I'm getting fusions and parts from it. So as you can see, this car is coming along quite well. All right, so Tempest cars, they're always kind of like a long-term slow project. I'm not too worried about Tempest cars. I'm just building them as I get parts. The M2, again, good enough to get through the entire Tempest. If I wanted to use this car only, I'm fine. There's no need to even worry about other cars, although I probably will need some stage 6s. The Honda's advantage is that I have stage 6s, but I don't have as many fusions or get them as easily. So these two both have their positive and negatives. Still, both are excellent cars. Now, tier 4, going back to tier 4, I have the other Honda that's been using up the fusions, and that's the NSXR. This car is doing well with points and speed. The one thing about the NSXR that you do have to be careful of is that it is not the best sprinter in the world. And for Tempest, particularly Tempest 1 and 2, it's the sprints that matters, not so much the speed trap. This car is good at speed trap, bad at sprints. Not terrible, so it's still doable, but if I'm going to lock this car in without enough upgrades, I may struggle with the sprint versus this car, which even with minimum upgrades will sprint great, but is slow and therefore not easy to beat the event with. Now you're looking at an even worse car here, which we won't even bother with. LC500, same deal, plenty fast, high speed traps, but lousy sprints for the most part until it's more elite upgraded and has the fusions. I'm not getting easy access to these fusions, obviously, without using crates. So this is, again, a kind of a back burner project at the moment. Nissan, with the easier access to fusions and this car being viable in live, has been my go-to car. So looking at the status of the account, essentially, we have acquired Angel Civic. We've done some restoration. We are now gathering a collection of additional cars. My Boxster S, which was the elite licensed, is getting there. This car is getting there for purpose of all 3 Tempests as needed. And all I need now are additional tier 2s to kind of use for the licensing. Tier 3 is looking great. Tier 4, I have cars, but I don't want to build them yet. This one's not very good. This one is good, but parts are hard to get for fusions. This one, like I said, is not very fast. And this car just plain sucks. So, still got some work there. Tier 5, I have a lot of options, but they're all expensive and very fusion dependent. So, none of these are priority options at the moment. These cars I'm just holding on to for race pass purposes. So, that's where we are with the account. It's looking pretty decent, but obviously, there are room for improvement. And one improvement to tier 2, which I have just finished, is the good old 300 SL. This car is now ready to be restored. Okay, let's go here and fit that part. And with that, I have now acquired another tier 2 into my garage. And this one was some Mercedes parts once I get a way of getting them more, or spend some bronze keys, which unfortunately I need them for other things. This car, I can pump up the fusions into it, pump up the Evo points, and this will be a nice little addition to tier 2. I can use this for a license because this is actually, once Elite Sum and with fusions, is a pretty decent live racer in tier 2. So I now have an additional option. So that just got done, which means we also now need to select our next car to add into the overall Legend Series garage list. Let's see, let's put him here and let's go shopping. So with Legend Series Cups, what happens is a lot of times you're looking at the daily Legend trial, and that trial changes. Most of the time, it's not a big deal. Any car can qualify, and the trial's easy. For example, the 300 SL qualifies for this one, but sometimes it'll require a specific brand or a specific tier. I still would avoid rushing to buy the higher tier stuff. They just take a lot of time to restore, and you might be stuck with one car for a very long time. Versus, you're almost better off just looking through the legends and buying the next low tier car. Obviously, certain cars are not available to you, but these lock cars won't happen until after you get to a certain point. So tier 5, I could buy the Bugatti. I can also get the Carrera GT. Tier 4, you cannot get the Countach or the GT40. That's locked behind events, but you can get the Hemi Cuda. I already finished the NSXR, and you also have the GTO, the Judge, for the tier 3. Now, the Cuda, again, with its unique fusions, is a bit of a tough car to build. I could build it as an elite tuner, but it's not a priority. As far as tier 3 is concerned, ZR1 Corvette, if it's fully elite, fully fusion, is one of the top tier 3 cars. Not the fastest, but close to top 5. And that's always an option for tier 3. I have one more tier 2 to restore, which is actually what I'm going to do now. To go ahead and finish all the tier 2s. They're the fastest to restore and easiest to restore. So I'm going to go ahead and work on getting a DB5 in there. Then we'll move to tier 3, maybe with the Corvette, and so on and so forth. So the tier 4 and 5s, again, very long-term projects. If you were in my position, what would you be focused on? Well, one is always do the race pass. You're going to get these free race pass rewards, and it's not too difficult to get past rank 21 reward to get that car. So extra mile track unlocked, awesome. I'm not likely to get all the way down to 25, but at least I am here looking at, I got the car, I got stage 6, I got some fusions, so I'm doing pretty good. Now, if I was pushing more bonus stuff, maybe I can get further, but certainly newer players, unless you like spending your resources and money, I wouldn't really try to push too hard beyond the low 20s when it comes to final race pass rankings. Easy explanation, easy to do, which can give me some tokens towards future cars, but again, I'll take care of it on my own. The Performance Ford popped up again. I can get the car for lock-in number 2, which is the Ford 150 SVT Raptor for gold. Again, since I haven't restored up to any point where I really need the GT40 yet, this is not a priority. It comes back every season or two, and it only lasts for like a day. So what you do is you just collect your crates when you have cars locked in, and you don't have to worry about much the rest for now. I'm not going to spend the gold yet, because again, I have to pull every Prestige Cup car that's coming along so far, and there's a very good chance that I will randomly pull that truck anyway. So until I need to, I'm not going to worry about pushing and spending that gold. The other stuff you do want to do, like the Elite Custom Trial, I'm going to do. Weekly Elite Cup for today, I'm going to do. So those things are the things that you definitely want to focus on a daily, weekly Elite, certain trials, legend trials, and then go straight to live for the rest. The Masterclass events, okay, you can lock in one lock-in because it basically takes any car. After that, you got to get cars, and for newer players at this level and this ranking, it's kind of pointless to even go for it. Don't even waste your resources. Don't worry about these big events. You'll have a chance to get those cars down the line, either randomly or repeat of events or something. But at the present, it would actually be a bad idea to chase those events, because you're going to be very, very broke. You're probably not going to finish the event, and you're going to build tier 5 cars that are completely useless to you and are going to be half done. So just not worth doing as a newer player. At what point are you ready? Well, you know, the truth is my 1,200 rank account still can't do Masterclass because somehow I don't have the Huracan Performante, and I don't want to spend the resources to get it. It just isn't worth it to me in the grand scheme of things. So that is where we are. That is the part 12, and I want to do this because it's into the season again. Want to give you guys a heads up on what the account did this season as far as RP, what struggles I've had, and what things kind of worked out in my favor. I think the best thing that came out of this season was the fact that I was able to lock in Honda NSXR for that Masterclass. I'm getting crates for it, for Honda parts. I am able to get the Toyota Supra to rank 30 elite level. This car is holding its own for me for getting points, and basically I'm just cruising along at this point, despite the fact that the Prestige Cup car was a real difficult one to build for any purpose. So I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope some of the information will be helpful to you in your own plans ahead. If you like the video, leave a like. If you like my channel and would like to get notified when I put up the next one, subscribe, hit the bell, and you get notified when I put up new videos. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. I'll catch you next time.